Okay, today I'm going to tell you, or I'm going to show you, tell and show actually, how to set up a neighborhood report and add it to your navigation bar on the top. So there's a couple first steps that we really want to do and a couple of best practices. First thing we want to do is add any images that we need to add that we're going to use. So I'm assuming that you're not going to just do one of these, that you're going to do a bunch of them at the same time. So figure out which ones you're going to do, what you're going to do. So let's say you're going to do Burien, you're going to do Normandy Park, you're going to do West Seattle, you're going to do Federal Way, you're going to do Tacoma, and you're going to want pictures that show just for those. So go online, do whatever you need to do, make sure they're not copyrighted, and we're going to upload those. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do that. So Site Builder, Collections, Image Library. All right, and then you're going to go to My Images and then add an image, browse for the image. So I'm just going to use this one just to make it easy. And then you're going to want to set up a new category. So let's say the new category is going to be NR2. Okay, so Neighborhood Report 2. That way I always know that I need to go to that category. Now, if you haven't copyrighted something, then or haven't used something that's copyrighted, hit I agree and then save images. Now, that is going to add that image to NR2. So if I go to the bottom, there's NR2 in that folder, and it's always easy to find. And just keep doing that for all the photos that you're going to use before you do anything else. That just makes it easier, because a lot of the times when you do it within whatever you're trying to set up, if you try to add an image, it kicks you out and then you got to start all over. So we don't want to do that. So add all your images at one time. Now the next step we're going to do is to create a search. So I go Site Builder, Search, Manage. And then I'm going to create a new search. You have a couple options. We're going to do this. You can do a polygon, okay, and click the little thing here and do a polygon, and all you do is hold the mouse and then click it. Click where you want to put a dot, click where you want to put a dot, okay, and then there's your polygon. Now you can do it that way, but I'm going to clear the polygon. You can also do it by zip code, so 98422. And you'll see the drop down, and always click the drop down. That way the computer knows exactly what you can do. You can do it by city, and then once you type in the city, it will give you some of the neighborhoods. Now, I don't think this is all the neighborhoods, so if you're looking for one in specifically, then type that in and see what comes up. So we're just going to do area 98422. Okay. And we're going to select it, hit go, and you'll see a bunch more pop up. And it should kind of give you the borders of that too. Now I'm going to go to all properties, and I'm going to click off the ones that I don't want. So just for me, I'm going to get rid of rentals, commercial, and vacant land. Now I'm also going to want to do pending and solds. Now when you do this, all the solds are going to show up for, I don't know, last 3 years, I think it is, or something like that. That's okay. So go ahead and click that, and then all of them will pop up. The next thing we're going to want to do is go to more, and then change the sold date to however far back you want to go. Let's say 3 months. More than 3 months probably isn't giving you a good representation of what the neighborhood is doing. Now remember, every criteria that you have on the MLS, if you click advanced search, all those criteria show up. So you can mimic whatever you want on the MLS. I wouldn't get too crazy with this. I would just keep it simple, okay? And then I'm going to hit submit. You'll see a lot of the solds go away. All right, now I'm going to click saved search. When I click save search, I'm going to want to do my website. Don't ever click selected client. Okay, just ignore that one and then do my website, hit continue. It's going to want you to give it a name. So I'm going to put in 98422 NR Neighborhood Review Intro. You're going to want to name this in such a way that you know what that search is when you go to use it later. So if you're using it for a community tab or you're adding it to the top of the nav bar, then name it something that you have that theme going all the way through. If you're going to do it for a client, you might want to name this search as the client if you're going to drill it all the way down to their neighborhood. That way it's easier to find later. Okay. You can also replace the search, replace this one with another one if you want to do that, and then hit submit. Okay. Once we hit submit, then we're going to go to saved search, and it's going to list all of our saved searches. I only have one, so I'm good to go. Now, a good practice also is go to manage, and here you can do some different things with it, delete it, all that good stuff. What I want to do is I want to copy this URL, and a very good practice is to create an Excel spreadsheet and post this into the Excel spreadsheet, so that way I don't have to keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to all these different ones when I go into it later. Okay. Now I got my saved search. What I want to do next is I want to create the SEO page. So I'm going to go Site Builder, Collections, Interior Pages. I'm going to add, and then I'm going to add an SEO page. Now we're going to name this again, so just, name it whatever you're going to be able to recognize it later. Now you have two options here. You got Luxury Neighborhood, or you have Neighborhood Report 1. The only difference is one is gray, one's black. I like the luxury one. It looks a little nicer. Create that page. Oh, it's not going to let me do it because I already had it. So I'm going to call it 98422 NR Intro 2. Okay, and I'm going to create that page. Now you'll see it pop up here. I already had the other one. That's why it wouldn't let me save it. Okay, so Intro 2, I'm going to go to Edit Page, and then I'm going to go Interior Page, and then again Interior Page. Don't ever use the Advanced Editor because that wipes everything out, and you don't want to do that. Change this to however you want it to be. That's the verbiage on the bottom. You can change the interior image. When I click on this, it sends me to the image library. Go down to your NR2, pick your photo. So you'll see how this is easier if we upload those photos all at one time. If not, it'll click here, it'll make you go through the steps, and then it'll kick you out to the interior pages. We don't want to do that. And then your neighborhood report, whatever you want that to be. I'm not going to change this just to save time. Now your saved search, you're going to click on Save Search. You're going to click the drop down. Now I only have one, but if you have a bunch of these in here, that's why it's important to name it however you want to name it so you can remember it later. Now I only have 98422 Intro, so I'm going to use that. Don't ever use the Create New Save Search again because it kicks you out, and then you go do your search, it kicks you out. You got to start all over. It's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to click Save Search again. Now each one of these tabs has a little hide button or a show. Now it's kind of backwards. So if I want to hide it, I click hide. And if I want to show it, I click show. Now you can go through these and determine which ones you want. So for example, Agent Branding 2 shows up at the very bottom of the page. So it's kind of a duplicate. So I'm going to turn that off so it doesn't show up. Okay. So now once you've gone through these, turned them on or off, then we're going to do Interior Pages. And then we are going to do publish. So always publish as often as you can because you can always go back to prior versions. So always publish just to make it look good. I'm going to hit OK. And now we should see everything show up. Now, as everything shows up, this is where you can decide whether or not you want to turn it on or turn it off. So for example, here's my Agent Branding 1. So I can go here, Agent Branding 1. I can hide it, click on that, hit interior page, and then publish, hit OK, and you should see it go away. Okay, there you go. It went away. All right. So, did I hit publish page? I'm going to hit publish page again, just in case. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now I've created the search. I created the page. So now for this one, we are going to add this to one of these 3 community tabs we have on our homepage layout. So if you want to use these communities, you very simply go to Site Builder, Collections, Layouts. Now you're going to look at these, hold your mouse over them, and see if it allows you to have communities. So this is the one I actually use, Cape Cod, with 5 custom communities. And then the Catskills has none. That's weird, isn't it? Yeah, that's weird. Okay, this one has 7 community titles. This one has none. Right? So you just go and you find the layout that you really want. Now remember, it doesn't matter what the color of the website is on the layout, what the photo is. We can change all that. All you're really looking at are the features of that website and whether or not it has exactly what you need. So for example, 7 tiles or no, and the feature properties and so on and so forth. Okay, so we've already done that. I'm not going to walk through that. It's very simple. You just click preview and then select, and then it pops in. Now remember, if you're going to change layouts, copy whatever you have off your website now, because all that's going to go away. So if you have a quote, if you have testimonials, if you have any of that, open a Word page, a Word doc, copy and paste there, and then you could just move it over. All right. The other thing too is whenever you get a layout, whatever is in Latin has to be replaced in order for you to publish the site. So if any of the buttons there are not have Latin in them, you have to make sure you find that and change that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to add this to your layout there, your community layouts. So these 3 tabs. So we're going to do this one. So I'm going to go to Home Page and then Community 1. So you're going to want to go through each one of these until you get to Community 1. Your SEO, the color, the hero, which is the stuff at top, all the calls to action. Now remember, you want your call to actions to be how much is my home worth, help finding a home, and information about you or contact me. Okay. The community one is this info up here, and then community ones goes. Now this layout allows you to have 5. You can see I have 4 of them hidden. So if I want to change that, I just go to here, just like the other one, and hide it or unhide it. Okay, and then hit community, and then of course publish whenever you make a change. Okay, so we're going to go into community 1, and here's where you type the information, and you can see here's test neighborhood. This is a test, and then you can even change what's on the button. So if I want to put launch on there or something like that, you can see it changes. This is where we put the URL. Okay. Now there's a couple different ways to get the URL added to your nav bar, then copy, so on and so forth. The easiest way is to go to your marketing, click on neighborhood report, go down to the report that you want to use. So we're going to use the 98422 NR intro 2. I'm going to view this. And when I view it, I'm going to copy the URL. So just click on it and copy. And you want to do that because you want the entire URL. You don't want to try and guess what it is. You don't want to type in there. You want the accurate and correct URL. So I'm going to close that. Now you see it kicked me out of my thing, but that's okay. So Site Builder, Collections, Site Editor. Now, if you have an Excel spreadsheet, if you have all those in the Excel spreadsheet, you can just copy paste in the Excel, and then you won't get kicked out, get back in. Okay, so I'm going to go homepage, community. All right, I'm going to paste in that URL. I'm going to change the image. If you want to change the image, that's how we do it. And we talked about that already. I'm going to go back to community, click homepage, and then I'm going to publish the page. Okay. Now remember again, whenever we make a change, we want to go in and click on it and test it to make sure it works. So here's the page. I have to refresh because you see it didn't change it. So here's launch. I'm going to launch it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there you go. So it shows up our 98422 intro to page. So that's pretty easy. Once you've done the first 2 steps, 3 steps, then everything else is pretty easy. So there you go. That's how to change it. Change your website layout community page into your neighborhood report.